The biggest mistake in inside zone isn't vision. It's misunderstanding the footwork, the timing, and how to put yourself in position to take advantage of the opportunities. I learned that the hard way. I knew the play, I knew the aiming point, but I didn't understand how intentional my steps had to be. Once I fixed that, inside zone completely changed for me. So, what does the right path actually look like? How do you train it until it becomes automatic? That's what we're breaking down today. Welcome back to the Running Back Manifesto. Let's get it going. All right, so let's get into our inside zone running back breakdown from the manifesto's view. We're going to have 5 key points that we want to go over, but first we got to start off with timing with the quarterback, right? As running backs, we don't want to mess up the mesh. We don't want to mess up the timing of the play because we're in a rush, right? So we got our running back, we got our QB. The best timing you can have with the quarterback is usually when the quarterback catches the ball, right? A lot of people have been going through their steps, their timing, as soon as the ball snaps, right? And what that does is it rushes the mesh with the QB, and it's hard to actually implement run, pass options, RPOs, and it's hard to implement play actions as well when you're running through the mesh so fast because you're not giving enough delay time for these linebackers, these safeties that's keying you, and they don't know if it's a pass or run. They don't know what's going on. So time with the quarterback is super crucial. All right, next we're going to talk about our footwork and our path with the QB as well. So when the ball hikes, of course, we're waiting for the ball to get to the quarterback's hand before we begin to move. And we're going to use a step, cross, go. I'm going to implement a video with this as well so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you look here, you can see what path that I'm actually running on as well, right? This path is so important because if you go straight, of course, you're not going to get the ball from the quarterback. So you want to make a path that bends towards the quarterback, but it achieves the goal of getting to your aiming point. So we're going to talk about getting square shoulders next because a lot of people, if their shoulders are faced this way, or if they're trying to face this way, then what they have is a two-way go, right? They only got a two-way go. 1, 2 if you're going that way, 1, 2 if you're going this way, right? But we want to square our shoulders up to the line of scrimmage. We want to make them parallel with the line of scrimmage. Why? Because when we were parallel with the line of scrimmage, we have 3 ways to go. So this is a multiple direction way to actually get the ball in inside zone. So when applied to this diagram, you'll be able to go this way, you'll be able to go straight, and you can go backside. So keep square shoulders. It's very important as a running back in inside zone to have a multi-directional way to go when you're getting the ball because the gap honestly can open up anywhere. Mainly, we're looking at gaps between B and B from B, right? Sometimes you can get to see if it bounces, everything pinches down, but what's going to be able to help you set that up is your aiming point, right? So you have different aiming points for different offenses. It might be told to you or coached to you differently as well. Just to be a little bit more general, let's just say the aiming point is the A gap or the inside hip of your guard. In this situation, this is our inside hip of our guard. If this is inside zone right, okay? So this is inside zone right. We're going to aim for our right guards, inside hip, and we're going to square our shoulders up to the line of scrimmage. That way, it gives us a 3-way go. Aiming points are so crucial because it gives these guys an understanding of where you'll be when you are running the ball. It helps them understand where to leverage their bodies as well when you're running the ball. If they don't know where you're at, it's really hard to block for somebody you don't know where they're at, right? So if you're there at this spot consistently, right? This is your aiming point. If you're in this spot consistently, these guys know exactly how to block. So this last one is a bonus for you guys because not every coach is going to coach you to do this, but I just felt in what as a running back in college, this helped me so much in preparing my body to hit a hole or being able to bounce outside of a hole. And that is if you are bending. So say if you're the running back and this is a QB, this is your line. You get the ball and you're starting to have to bend this way, right? What you're going to have to do is begin to get your outside foot down. Running Back Manifesto. Why do I have to get my outside foot down here? You want to start shifting your footwork to get your outside foot down because at any given moment, one of these holes is going to pop open. Because what you're doing is you're playing the holes from the front side of the play, right? And then you're starting to look on the back side of the play, right? So your footwork's all good when you first start the play. But once everything closes up in this area, you're going to have to start looking to the backside. And when you start looking to the backside, your footwork is kind of going to be out of rhythm per se because your inside foot is going to start leading you. And if your inside foot is going to start leading you, what's going to end up happening is that your shoulders will do this. They will turn, right? And what happens when your shoulders are turned in one direction, right? You probably only have a two-way go, right? And you never know, you might need to come back and jam it right back up the middle, right? So what we want to do is we're going to begin getting our outside foot down. I will show you that on my video as well, how I begin to switch my foot pattern. So when my outside foot down, I will be prepared to hit any hole that I see. Going through the hole, you'll start to notice how you're getting your outside foot down on contact with these defenders if you have to make contact. That's if you have to make contact. All right, and to conclude the video, I want to finish talking about gaps, right? We have to understand gaps as running backs as well. Um, just going to start off with some basic understanding, some basic knowledge of what gaps are. First off, we need to understand where the center is, right? When you can identify where the center is, then you can start to identify where all the other gaps are. So first thing we need to know is how to identify the center. Most of the time when you see my play art, when you see most people's play art, the center is going to be identified by a square and the other blockers or tight end may be identified by a circle or a semicircle or by letters if we're talking about receivers or the running back or the quarterback. But specifically talking about the center is identified by a square. The other guards, tackles, they're identified by circles, right? So this is our center, right? On either side of the center is the A gap, right? So this is how they start out. We start out from the inside and we go out to identify where the gaps are between each other lineman, right? So you have the center, you have a guard, and you have the A gap, B gap, C gap, D gap, right? And it's the same thing on the other side. A gap, B gap, C gap, right? And I put this C gap here just to note that just because a tight end isn't there doesn't mean the gap isn't there, right? So on this side, we see the tight end is attached, or it could be a tackle over. Different formations can set this up, but the D gap is still present even though there isn't a player on the outside of this tight end or the tackle over. Doesn't matter. As long as we are able to identify these gaps, we can understand where our opportunities may lie. And in inside zone, a lot of the times our opportunity lies from the front side to the back side of the play, right? So these are the gaps that we mainly can identify opportunities. I'm not discounting that opportunities can't pop up out here because running the ball, nothing's guaranteed, right? So that means when nothing's guaranteed, that means other opportunities pop up in different places, right? But when you run inside zone, the the objective is to get it in between the tackles, right? If these are the tackles right here, the play is designed to try and get in between these guys, right? The tackles. So you would be working from these parts of the gaps, B, A, B, and then sometimes it does bounce out to C. but for general purposes, this is where the gaps usually lie for opportunity. We've covered that you need to start on both sides of the center to begin your sequence of understanding each gap from A, B, C, and D, right? So, guys, if you really like this video and this is valuable information for you, I would like you to comment, like, and subscribe. And if you guys want a more in-depth video on gaps and defense alignment techniques, let me know in the comments. Keep following the channel. Let's build this community up. This is Running Back Manifesto. I appreciate you guys for everything that you've done so far. And let's keep building the community. All right, y'all have a good one. See y'all on the next video.